Hey there everyone, welcome to Hammer Bros Gaming. I am Blades of God, and today, along with Pyro and Mr. Beardsley, we are going to be taking you through the Gears 5 escape map, The Hunters. We're going to be doing this on Master Difficulty, as this is the newest installment in our Master Difficulty guide, covering all of the Gears 5's maps. And for classes that we are going to be running, we're actually all going to be running melee-based classes. I myself am going to be running the Protector class because we want to have at least one person running the Bubble Shield Ultimate. Pyro and Mr. Beardsley are each going to be running the Blade Master class because we want to have at least one person who has the Shock Chain or the Electro Blade ability. So that's kind of mix and match. You want to have one of each if you're going to run this setup, but the third person can run either an additional Blade Master or an additional Protector based on which class is higher leveled. Looking at the modifiers for this map, we have more health, more lethal, more sires, more melee damage, ghost sires, faster venom, and Iron Man. What this means is that we're going to have more sires appearing on the map. When the sires get close to you, they're going to cloak and turn invisible, and more melee damage means that not just the sires, but any enemy that strikes you with a melee hit is going to do additional damage. So, when we get right into the map itself here, as we leave the spawn room, or the beginning of the map, there's not much in the way of choice. You're going to head straight down the first hallway, and eventually you're going to get to this. You're going to be in an elevated catwalk type area after you go through this next door. And there are plenty of different paths that you can take here. I personally like to drop down this right-hand path and get down to the ground floor a little quicker. But right in this first area, there's not a ton of enemies, so you can kind of go wherever you're going to feel comfortable to go. You're going to see right above me that I think it was Beardsley actually went above us and took the long way around. But just make sure you stick close to each other in this map. There are going to be, as I said, a lot of sires, and with that grab attack, they can take you out of commission very, very quickly, especially on Master Difficulty. Something else to take note of is that to the left of where we came into this room, there is a ammo room that has a boom shot, I believe. And since we're not running anything with explosive cards, we decided to just forego that ammo room completely. And the path that we actually end up progressing down is the path to the right. Now, this run was a little bit sloppy. Normally what we like to do is try to rush up to this doorway and just wait, because if you can get up here fast enough, your enemies are going to usually filter out through that door and come to you, and you can take them out one at a time as they come through the doorway, especially if you have one ally posted up on each side of the door. And again, a lot of this has to do with RNG. Normally the enemies spawn further into the map, so they're able to come through that door that we came through, but you will always have sires that are trying to sneak up behind you, so make sure you keep your eyes open behind you as well. So once you clear out this little group of enemies, go ahead and open up this door to the ammo room. You're going to find ammo in here. Again, we're not really running a lot with guns right now, and there's going to be a couple of sires in here too, so be aware of that. You can see right there that Pyro ended up getting grabbed, but again, because we're all running those melee classes, we can take the sires out very quickly to rescue each other. And as I said, make sure that you, if you need ammo, if you decide to pick up some weapons, then go ahead and load up on the ammo in here. Right here, Pyro was just telling us that on his screen, one of the sires glitched into the wall up high there, but none of us could see it, so it's not a big deal. But you can see I'm going to pick up an Enforcer from one of those downed Imagos, and I come back in again just to check and see if I could see the hanging sire, but I didn't. So I'm going to grab a little bit of ammo, and just to have a weapon to do a little bit of distance work if need be. And then we're going to keep advancing. So from the ammo room, you're going to head straight across and then hang a right, as this is the only path to advance on this in this map. And then that's going to bring you to this very big smelting mining room. I'm not exactly sure what the title of it is, but the room with the big furnace and the big smelter in the middle. Now what we'd like to do here is we spread ourselves out. You can see there's one of Beardsley's heading off to the right, Pyro headed off to the left, and I sort of sat in the middle until we could see where the enemies are going to focus. At that point, whoever has the bubble shield should try to run up. I should have been a little further ahead of where I am right now, sort of right about here to drop that bubble shield, so we could have had a spot to work from. But I got a little overzealous and dropped it too early. But again, you want to have two of your allies sort of advance up and try to do some damage to the enemies, drop as many as they can, and then have one person, preferably your Protector with the bubble shield and the ability to generate stim, sit back a little bit, and he's going to act as kind of your medic right now. And if anybody gets down, it's his job to run out and revive them. Once you feel like you can safely get across that open floor, you want to head to the right side of this room and sort of get into these trenches right here. These trenches are very safe. They offer a lot of cover and a lot of protection, and it actually gives you a ladder to get up to the upper level so you can circle around and flank the enemies that are remaining on these stairs. You can see right there, Beardsley getting a nice execution on that drone, and then that's pretty much it. We've wrapped up most of the enemies. We're almost to the safe room, and we do have a couple of sires that come up behind us, so not a big deal. Using the bleed damage from the protector, we can take them out relatively quickly. You can see right there the bleed damage took them out, and then we thought we were free and clear, but Pyro ended up getting hit again, so we turned around, came back to revive him and get that last sire and a few juvies off the board. I accidentally activated my bubble shield right there. I really did not mean to do that, but here we go. You can see we're all just meleeing like crazy, and unfortunately something kind of weird happens here. We get everyone up. Pyro gets grabbed again by another sire, and when he gets rescued, he kind of ends up getting stuck in the wall, which we didn't realize. So I'm just going to speed this part up, and we'll come back to the narration after. So you can see what we were trying to do there was down Pyro and hopefully kill him so we could just advance into the into the safe room, but we couldn't do that, so we had to wait until the venom got to him and killed him. And then we actually skipped the safe room itself. There's nothing special about it, it's just a safe room. But when you come out of the safe room, you're going to be in for a very big fight. There's a Mulcher Scion and a lot of drones, and what we do is we actually plant a shock nade right on this wall that I'm taking cover on and wait for the enemies to advance. And then we have one of our Blade Masters activate the Electro Blade and just go to work, especially if they have the Shock Chain activated. You see how quickly that the combination of the Shock Chain and then the bleed damage, since the venom is right there, goes to work cleaning out those enemies. So once that area is taken care of, again, that's a very tricky portion. You might need to restart a couple of times, but don't worry, you're right in the safe room, so you don't lose a whole lot of progress if you wipe. Once we're through that area, we're going to come up to the right here and into this little ammo room. There's stim, there's plenty of ammo here. You can see that I picked up a Gnasher and a Hammer Burst, and I'm just loading up on a little bit of extra ammo. And again, be careful, we have sires that are following us and pursuing us. Another one right there. They're a little tough to see because of that cloak, but you usually can see the movement without too much of an issue. So once everybody has loaded up on ammo and stim and got everything they think that they need out of that room, we're going to advance down this pathway. It's really the only way to advance, and we're going to hang a right, come up this little ramp, this hilled area, and we're going to come to another very large open, well, not open necessarily, but it's kind of like three rooms connected together. And what we like to do here is we use this pillar for cover, because you can see we're going to get rushed by some sires here, and Beardsley was lagging behind a little bit. We had one sire decide to just bypass Pyro and I and go for Beardsley, so I just marked him and let him know that there was a sire on his way. Get Pyro back on his feet. Again, this map is all about communicating and helping each other out, watching each other's backs, because those sires can be very, very quick to decapitate you. So anyway, once we're all back together in this sort of 3-in-1 room, we're going to hang to the right and kind of take the right path. This way we don't go up the middle and end up having enemies on both sides of us. You're going to want to stick all the way to this right wall and just circle all the way around. And what this is going to do is it keeps a wall to your back, and by having a wall to your back, you don't really have to worry about enemies coming in on a right flank or a left flank. I'm sorry, on the right flank. And the enemies should more or less be either in front of you or behind you. And most of the enemies that'll be behind you will be sires, so that's not that big of a deal. Again, you can see I dropped my bubble shield right here, and that was mostly just to give us a little bit of a reprieve from the enemies that were shooting at us. Not strictly necessary, I just felt like it was going to be a smart move so we wouldn't end up getting surrounded by gunfire. Again, if the sires close in on us, not a big deal since we're all running that melee class. And then once we get through that sort of little area, you can see on the mini-map we have this hallway that sort of wraps around behind the rooms that we were in. And normally what we like to do right here is go to the right. There is a little hallway to the right. You can see the big doorway where I'm running right now, and ideally what we'd like to do is get all 3 of us down to that hallway, and that will give us a good hard point to hold, and we can have all the enemies in front of us again so we don't get flanked. But unfortunately, it fell apart relatively quickly. Beardsley got grabbed right there. I ended up getting down, so we had a little bit of a chain revive. And then Pyro went in with his Electro Blade to clean up as many of the enemies as he could. But unfortunately, he ended up way up top on that hill away from all of the allies, or all of us, all of his allies that could help him. So you can see right there, we've got 3 enemies shooting at me. We've got Pyro down, and then Beardsley's just trying to break up the log jam, if you will. So I could get in there, revive Pyro, and then go to work with the melee again, trying to thin out some of these enemies so we can keep advancing. As you can see, the Venom is actually relatively fast in this map. We've kept a fairly good pace, but the Deadly Venom is closing in on us very quickly. So another thing to keep note of is that you do have to keep a good pace while you're working your way through this map. So once we kind of cleaned up this area here, using, like I said, the hide and go tactics, if you will, the hit and run tactics, you're going to advance down that hallway, down that right corridor, and it's going to bring you to a ladder and a ramp room, and you're going to take that up. And the reason that we do this, there is another path you could take over to the left, but we just find that this keeps, again, everything more right in front of us, and we're not going to end up getting flanked. So we know nothing's going to circle around behind us unless it's a sire, and all we need to do is worry about the enemies that are directly ahead of us. Again, I saw that there was an awful lot of bullets flying at us, so I dropped my bubble shield again just to give us a place to kind of wait things out and hopefully have some of those enemies advance on us, which you can see is happening. We have sires and imagos that are closing on us, and because we have the superior melee damage, we're able to melee through most of these enemies without much of a problem. So again, we're done with that combat encounter, and now we're heading up further towards the end of the map. You can see right there is the helipad, and this area does get a little bit tricky because you have a warden come in from the helipad, but that's right there is why we have the Electro Blade. This is the whole reason that you want to run at least one person as the Blade Master, because that Electro Blade does a great job of taking down wardens, whereas unless I have a melee weapon, the Protector's melee won't do anything to the warden itself. So you can see I swap out for a breaker mace here for the door hold at the end. We're having a little bit of a problem getting everybody on their feet, but now everyone's on their feet. We're moving ahead and just kind of doing some hit and run tactics as we sprint to the end of the map. The early Venom was already at the map, so the door had started to close, and now I'm just going to post up right in the doorway here and use this melee attack to really go to work, taking out any sires that try to get through the door. Pyro activated his Electro Blade just because he had it ready to go, and that's about it, guys. That is how we get through the Hunters on Master difficulty using only melee classes. I hope this helped. Stick around for more guides, and until next time, take care of yourselves. Bye-bye. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, please like and subscribe. You can also check us out on Twitch at Hammer Bros Gaming. I am Blades of God, and until next time, have a great day everyone.